Hello, my name is Dr. Thomas Jordan. I'm a clinical psychologist and psychoanalyst here in New York City. If you've seen my presentation on fixing your love life, or you've read my book, Learn to Love, Guide to Healing Your Disappointing Love Life, you're probably watching this video because you're interested in something a little deeper so that you can make significant changes in your love life. So, this brief video will help you do just that. The important thing to remember is that our love lives are determined by what we've learned about love relationships in the course of our lives. So I developed what I call an unlearning method to help you in a 3-step method to change what you've learned that's unhealthy and is probably in control of your love life, creating disappointments. So my emphasis is on the psychology of our love lives and how what we have in our minds is in control of what occurs in our love life experiences. So in order to make changes in that, you need to apply a method of unlearning. So the first step, step 1 of the unlearning method, is to identify what you've learned that is unhealthy. That's the first step. Usually we don't walk around thinking about what we've learned about love relationships because most of that learning, if not all of it, has occurred unconsciously without our awareness. So this method that I'm talking about, its primary purpose is to make that knowledge conscious so that in step 2 and 3, you can make the changes necessary to do something different, do something healthier, do something more productive for your love life. So in step 1, we're interested in identifying what kind of learning has taken place. So the first thing we want to do is, if you're doing this on your own, is to purchase a journal. That would be the first thing to do. A journal that you're going to call your love life journal. In that journal, the first thing you're going to write is whatever you can remember about love, the emotion of love, beginning from the beginning of your life. This is a private journal. No one looks at it, reads it. It's important that you keep it private so that you can be free to write whatever comes to mind about love. Now, let's define love life simply as any and all relationships involving the emotion of love, past and present. So fundamentally, your love life begins the moment you're born. So in your love life journal, it would be good to remember as much as you can about love relationships from the beginning, the people you love, mom, dad, family members. Allow yourself to write without censorship or editing. You don't have to be concerned about spelling or grammar. Just let yourself write freely in this journal about your love life beginning from the earliest memories you have of love relationships in your life, all the way to the present. This information is important because, in a sense, it's a love life review. That's what we want to do. We want to put our focus on the area of our lives we have to improve, our love lives. It's usually an area we don't think much about. There's a lot of repetitive patterns, as I mentioned, unconscious things going on. So this love life journal begins to make conscious what occurred in your love life. So you're going to start looking for repetition. That's the first clue that something might be in psychological control of your love life, producing repeated disappointments. The repetition, you see something in what you've written that is repetitive. For example, the same type of person in your love relationships, or the same type of behavior takes place. The repetition can be one time, two times, more times. If you see something showing up more than once, that's a clue that something unhealthy has probably been learned in your love life. So the next clue is replication. So we started with repetition. Now we're moving to replication. Replication meaning something has replicated. For example, an early experience that you've had showing up again and again in your love relationships. Let's take an example. Let's say that you've had an early experience of neglect or dishonesty that has found its way into your adult love life, and it seems to replicate itself, like you were lied to, or you were neglected, or you were treated abusively, and now you've found partners in your love life that are doing the same thing or some variation of it to you now as an adult person. So you can start to think about replication, something from an earlier point in your life, something you've learned about love relationships early on, some experience you've had that is unhealthy is now replicating in your adult love life. So we're doing repetition, we're doing replication, and now we're going to think about what we've specifically learned that is recreating these unhealthy experiences. And that's kind of like, the process there is kind of awesome. I mean, think about it. We can recreate experience without necessarily knowing that we're doing so. And that's something about the human mind that can be mind-boggling, So the point is, we have to be more specific about what we've learned from these unhealthy relationship experiences that are being replicated. So, for example, let's take an example of abandonment. Let's say I unfortunately experienced abandonment growing up as a child. So I recreate it by, say, selecting partners who abandon the relationship. I tend to select partners that are not committed to the relationship. So I can start to formulate ideas about what I might have learned. Let's start with beliefs about love relationships. Maybe I believe that abandonment can be part of a love life, that commitment is rare, or it's not easy to find. And so, or I believe that I can change people. I can find a partner with commitment problems and love them to death and make them be more committed in the course of the relationship, which is very questionable and I don't think ever happens. But the point is that this could be a belief that justifies abandonment or commitment problems in the adult relationship. So you can see how the pool of people that I would select for love relationships is starting to get specific, emotionally unavailable people or people with commitment problems. And I'm unconsciously selecting this type of person who could show up repeatedly in my love life. Another area that might help us define what we've learned is the type of behavior we engage in a love life situation. Let's use the abandonment example. I could abandon people because I was abandoned. So my love life would be a lot of repeated abandonments, leaving relationships in the middle of them, or not being committed. Or I can find partners who have abandonment issues over and over again, like somehow abandonment is an experience that's in control of my love life. So the behavior could be abandoning or finding people to abandon me. Another area that helps us specify what we've learned is the feelings we have in a love relationship. Using the abandonment example again, abandoned or abandoning in a love relationship obviously sets up the feeling of loss. So my love life could be, repetitive experiences of loss over and over again, which kind of, again, focuses on a specific type of love life, a disappointing type of love life where I pick the same partners over and over again. So once you start thinking through this stuff, see, what I'm suggesting is ways in which we can begin to identify, pay attention to what these patterns are that are in control of our love lives psychologically. Because it's what I've learned in my research over the past 30 plus years is that what's in our mind about our love lives determines the type of experience we're going to have. So the more you know about what's in your mind, your psychological love life, the more you can make real permanent changes and improvements. I know this firsthand. I did it in my own love life. I mean, I had a very disappointing love life between the ages of 17 and 36. And through my personal therapy experience, I learned something about my love life that I was using what I had learned in my family, which was that eligible women were dependent, controlling, and self-centered, and I took that knowledge, which was unconscious, and I had disappointing relationships over and over again during that period. That learning was so powerful that when I met someone who wasn't dependent, controlling, and self-centered, I imagined she was. I mean, that's how powerful that unhealthy learning was in shaping my love life experience. So the first step in this unlearning method is to identify one of our most powerful assets psychologically is the ability to be conscious. When we're conscious, we can change something. We can apply our understanding. We can change our behavior. We can do something different. So we find out, re-summary here, we find out what we've learned that's unhealthy by identifying what the unhealthy relationship experiences are that are repeating and replicating in our love life experience by using our love life journal to identify that. And then we figure out how we're recreating these disappointing relationships by looking at what we believe about love relationships, how we behave in love relationships, and what we end up feeling in love relationships. And that gives us some definition in step one. Okay, we'll move on to step two. Step two, we're going to challenge. That's a very important word. Challenge what unhealthy learning has taken place. Challenge. What does challenge mean? It means that we have the innate, original, natural ability to challenge ourselves, to change a habit, to change what we've learned that has been in effect, for example, for many years, like the type of learning we're talking about. We usually learn it early in life, and it can be in control of our love lives throughout our entire life, tragically. But that type of learning requires a challenge. The unlearning of old learning, habitual learning, requires a challenge. The challenge is between what we've learned and the new consciousness that we have about what we've learned. Well, now we know it's unhealthy. Now we know that it's not helping us. It's resulting in disappointing experiences. It's replicating something that we learned earlier in life, repeated disappointment. So now a part of us is convinced that what we've learned is unhealthy, so we can challenge ourselves. When you practice, another important word, practice challenging yourself, you're now looking for when this unhealthy learning is coming into effect, when it shows up. I go to a party, I start gravitating towards people who drink too much because that's a pattern that was in control, an unhealthy pattern that I learned earlier in life. Maybe my father was an alcoholic or my mother, and I learned that alcoholism was a part of love relationships because this is the environment I grew up in. So now I know that this unhealthy pattern is something I have to disrupt. Another important relationship, challenge and disrupt. So now a part of my mind that I seek to strengthen is looking for examples of where I'm going in the same old disappointing direction. So I can remind myself, no, Tom, don't do that. You have to go in a different direction. You have to keep something out of your love life. That's essentially what step 2 is all about. So I say practice because it's something you're going to do. You're going to practice. You're not going to expect that finding out, watching this video or reading my book is automatically, magically going to change everything. No. It's something you have to practice. You have to strengthen. The part of you that knows what you've been doing in your love life is unhealthy. And what happens over time, and here's the reward, that knowledge, that conscious understanding that you have, that something unhealthy has been learned, gets stronger. The stronger that inside understanding becomes, the better and more successful your challenges are. You keep yourself out of that unconscious, automatic, unhealthy learning thing that you've been doing, and you stop making space for something new to happen. This is on to step 3. Step 3. Step 3 is possible because you've worked to separate yourself from what was unhealthy in your love life. So you're actively paying attention to the unhealthy learning and when it starts showing up. So now in step 3, you've got some space for something new. You're going to make a correction. Corrections occur because now we're looking for what we need in our love lives. And what we need in our love lives is usually the opposite of the unhealthy learning that took place. If we've been abandoned, for example, growing up, and we were finding partners who were emotionally unavailable or having trouble with commitment, we realize commitment is what we need. Commitment makes the correction. So practicing commitment in our love lives now as an adult, paying close attention to commitment and the importance of it, realizing that that's what helps us heal our love lives and move it in a better direction. Partners who can commit are partners who are easier to love with trust. So it moves our relationship in an important direction. Another one that I unfortunately see quite a bit in my practice here in New York City is abuse. Various forms of abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse can be replicated in the adult love life. We end up recreating it because we believe that abuse is common in love lives, or we behave in ways that recreate it. Either we abuse in love relationships where we get afraid or insecure, or we pick partners who are abusive, verbally, physically, or emotionally, and the feeling of fear is something that we end up living with because that's familiar. It's something that was learned in the family. So we have to break this apart so we can move into respectful adult relationships. Respectful adult relationships occur because we've now focused on the opposite. The opposite of abuse is respect. The opposite of abuse is respect. So let's do a couple more just to provide more examples. Control, excessive control in a love relationship. Being able to see that we pick partners who are controlling, or we are too controlling in a relationship, resulting in disappointment. So the opposite of control would be the freedom to be oneself in a relationship, and focusing on that and practicing. Again, in step 3, we're practicing the opposite. We're practicing the correction. And what that does is it makes it easier for us to find what we need in our love lives. It's the opposite of what we've been taught, and it moves our relationship in a healthier direction. So recap, step 1, a love life review. Use a journal, write out whatever experiences of love you can remember, starting from the beginning, and you can do it in chronological order so that you go step by step all the way into adulthood, and then save what you've written so you can look at the patterns: repetition, replication, recreating unhealthy learning. Step 2, to challenge what you've become aware of, to challenge what you've learned that's unhealthy, keeping out the unhealthy pattern, making yourself aware of what it is that's been in control of your love life in an unhealthy way. And then step 3 is now you have some space to do something new. And it might be uncomfortable at the beginning doing something new, but that discomfort tells us we're in a good direction. There's good forms of discomfort and anxiety that tell us we're moving into the unknown, the unfamiliar. We're making a correction on something that needs correction so that you can have a more intimate, healthy love relationship. If you have any questions about applying my unlearning method and you want to talk to me about it, I'll answer whatever questions you have. I'm going to show you my direct email address and my phone number. You can also find information on my website, lovelifelearningcenter.com. Again, that's lovelifelearningcenter.com. You can go there. There's a lot of articles about real love life issues and how to correct them. But if you'd like to talk to me directly, I'll answer any questions you have about applying this unlearning method. If you're interested in my book, here it is, Learn to Love, Guide to Healing Your Disappointing Love Life. Won a few book awards. And if you're interested in talking to me, this is my number and my email address. I'll let you look at that for a second or two. Okay. Good luck and hang in there. Bye-bye.